The Mid-Season Invitational, or MSI, is the second most important international tournament for League of Legends after the World Championship. It is usually held midway through the competitive year. So for the World Championship, you can predict how well the teams would do in what is called Pick'Ems, and win prizes depending on how accurately you predicted which team would win. So for the first time, we had MSI Pick'Ems, giving us an extra opportunity to predict teams that would win in the upcoming matches. I'm proud to say that I managed to correctly predict the play-in stage placings and the whole playoffs double elimination bracket for MSI 2025. Now the prize for getting for all these picks correct is 7 ultimate skins and their champions. But since I own all the champions already, it's just the skins I'll be getting. I also get Spirit Blossom Hwei as well. So here I am at the Mid-Season Invitational Pick'Ems page. And you can see I have the max 340 points, 70 from the play-ins, and 270 points from the playoffs. And here's the graph showing the distribution of players that got how many points. And because I have the perfect and the top 2,500 tier, I will get Elementalist Lux, Gun Girl's Misfortune, 5 other ultimate skins, and the champions, as well as Spirit Blossom Hwei, and Hwei itself, and another esports capsule, and these ones as well. So let's go into the play-ins picks. This one was basically you had to predict how the teams would place from first to fourth, and you can view the bracket. So this is how the bracket played out. G2 and BLG won their first matches. Then BLG beat G2, which advances BLG to the first place. Now, Fury and Gam, they played a 5-game series, which Gam narrowly won. And then they versed G2 in a 5-game series, which G2 narrowly won. So G2 advances as second place, and Gam is the third place. So I correctly predicted BLG first, G2 second, Gam third, Furia fourth. Then we go to the playoff bracket, the double elimination bracket, where you have 4 first round matches between Genji versus G2, AL versus FlyQuest, CFO versus T1, MKoi versus BLG. These ones are pretty easy to predict. Basically, the LCK and the LPL teams are stronger, and so they all won their first round matches. Then we go to the second round in the upper bracket, where Genji versus AL. I predicted Genji, but I thought Genji would be beating AL much more convincingly than the 3-2. And then T1 versus BLG, which I did not expect that to be a 3-0, but that was a very convincing 3-0 from T1. So we have the Genji versus T1 in the upper bracket final, but we'll go to the lower bracket first since those matches played out first. We had G2 versus FlyQuest in the lower bracket, which FlyQuest convincingly won 3-0. I had an inkling that FlyQuest was going to beat G2, and they were just a better team, but I didn't realize that they were that good. There were moments in that series where I thought G2 had the upper hand. They had definitely got some early kills and stuff, but FlyQuest just had the better team fighting and the better picks. Then CFO versus MKoi, this one. People were expecting MKoi to perhaps be a bit stronger, but I thought CFO was actually pretty decent because they also went to first stand, the first international tournament of the year, and they dominated their region in the playoffs of the LCP. So they beat MKoi 3-1. They move on to the next round. We have BLG and AL, which lost in the upper bracket round 2, beating FlyQuest and CFO, which is kind of expected. Though FlyQuest taking BLG to 5 games was actually a quite interesting effort. And then we had the BLG vs AL LPL matchup. This one was a bit contentious. I originally had BLG beating AL and BLG going to verse T1 for the second time and T1 beating BLG for the second time, but I changed it on the last moment after talking to my friend to AL first. And then the T1 versus AL matchup. And then the T1 versus AL matchup, I just thought that T1 would get to the final and versus Genji again, so I didn't really think of who was actually going to be versing T1. But it turns out it was AL, so I just decided, yeah, let's just do T1, go for the final. And then Genji beats T1 in the finals 3-2 again, after beating them in the upper bracket with the same scoreline. So that is the perfect pick'ems. So here we are in the League of Legends client. Let's go to skins. And there we are. There are all our ultimate skins that we've gotten. And the Spirit Blossom Hwei as well. Now, I already owned two of them, I believe. I already owned two of them, which was the Sulfur Samira. Somehow I got this one. I can't remember how I got this one. And then I got the Elemental Lux quite a few years ago. But the other five, I now own the ultimate skins. So really nice.